Good evening and welcome to the news at 10. Prime Minister Hani al-Mulki was briefed on the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission TRC's achievements, activities, facilities and services while on a visit there today. Mulki said Jordan is proud of TRC's advanced performance in organizing the sector and providing better quality services to citizens. He said Jordan's services sector is key, and telecommunications is at the forefront of these sectors that support the state budget and gross national income. Mulki added that the TRC is among the best independent institutions in terms of quality service and excellence, stressing that independent institutions were established to succeed and follow TRC's example of success. Mulki pointed out that the government plans to exclusively start providing 10 e-services and continue expanding them. Minister of Foreign and Expatriates Affairs Ayman al-Safadi discussed with his visiting Indonesian counterpart efforts to contain the consequences of the U.S. decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Safadi briefed Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi on last Saturday's Arab Foreign Ministers meeting held in Amman, which discussed ways to counter the U.S. decision. Both ministers agreed on the need to forge coordinated efforts to secure an international recognition of a Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital on the 1967 borders. Minister Safadi also agreed with his Turkish counterpart, Mevlut Çavuşoğlu, the need to continue coordinating over the ramifications of the U.S. decision over Jerusalem. During a phone conversation, both ministers agreed that key to achieving regional security and stability was an end to Israeli occupation and the establishment of an independent Palestinian state on the 67 borders, with East Jerusalem as its capital. Safadi also briefed Çavuşoğlu on the outcome of Amman's Arab ministerial meeting, with both agreeing on urging the international community to recognize a Palestinian state. In the West Bank, Israeli forces blocked Palestinian access out of and into southern Nablus by closing the Hawara military checkpoint. Palestinian sources said occupation forces also closed the road connecting Nablus and Qalqilia, barring local citizens from reaching their homes and workplaces. The closure came after an Israeli settler was killed close to an illegal Jewish settlement near Nablus. In Syria, attacks on the town of Hamouria in the besieged rebel enclave of eastern Ghouta continued, with the killing of civilians and destruction of buildings. The UN Human Rights Chief, Prince Zaid Ra'ad al-Hussein, said the Syrian army and their allies had killed at least 85 civilians since December 31st. And conditions in the enclave amount to a humanitarian catastrophe. Meanwhile, the head of the United Nations Office for Humanitarian Affairs, Mark Lowcock, who began his three-day visit to Syria, visited Homs. Following a tour to a health center, church and the old market, Lowcock said the UN had raised $1.7 billion to help meet the needs of people all over Syria who have been affected by the war. Lowcock is scheduled to discuss ways of improving access and delivery of aid to conflict-affected zones.
To 7.5 million people.
U.S. President Donald Trump welcomed the possibility of U.S. talks with North Korea. The White House said Trump told South Korean President Moon Jae-in that the United States was willing to talk to North Korea at the appropriate time and under the right circumstances. A day after North and South Korea held their first talks in more than 2 years, Trump said there would be no military action while talks were ongoing. In sports, Thomas Berdych has won the Break Tens tournament, beating Rafa Nadal in Melbourne. The tournament is a tennis format in which only tie-break matches are played, with the winner being the first player to reach 10 points and lead by a margin of 2. Berdych, who had beaten Nick Kyrgios and Milos Raonic, defeated Rafa Nadal in the final with a 10-5 scoreline, which saw the Czech collect the $250,000 US prize. French cyclist Robert Marchand is retiring at the age of 106. The decision to quit comes a year after the tenacious sportsman set what was likely billed as a world record for the over 105s category. He completed 22.528 kilometers in 1 hour. The feat at an indoor track near Paris drew intense media coverage and a moment of international celebrity for Marchand, an amateur who has been in the saddle for well over 90 years. Born in 1911 in northern France, Marchand started riding a bike when he was 14, but only took up cycling seriously when he was 67. And finally, the weather outlook. It will continue to be cold tonight with southeasterly light to moderate winds. Tomorrow, it will be fair as temperatures rise 4 to 6 degrees above their seasonal average, with Amman expecting a high of 16 degrees Celsius and a low of 6. In the Gulf of Aqaba, it will be warm with a high of 25 degrees, sliding down to 11 at night. With this, we come to the end of tonight's news. I'm Dana Abu Sham. Thanks for watching and have a good night.